Hey folks, Snarky J Cosplay here, and as you know, this Wednesday the second chapter of the Book of Boba Fett was released on Disney Plus, and I can't say that it felt as good as the first one. I know it's a hot take, but whatever. For the non-spoiler part, I have to say, I do like that it was a lot longer than the first episode. The first episode I felt like started and ended, and I was like, where's the rest of it? This one was long, and I do mean long. I think it's like 40 something minutes. To me, it might as well have been 10 years. I feel like I personally was out there in the desert suffering with him. Why did it feel so long? Well, in the very beginning, without giving too much away, it does establish some really exciting stuff. And then they do nothing with it for the rest of the show. I was kind of waiting for some more development. My issue with it so far is that we're 2 episodes into a 7-episode season, and I feel like we haven't seen anything happen. Flashbacks haven't been particularly exciting, and we also haven't seen Boba doing a lot of cool stuff as Daimyo of Mos Espa. However, the episode did have some really cool fight sequences. More on that later. I can't really complain about the whole episode. I don't think it was a complete loss. I'm just saying. I just feel like, what are we doing if we haven't already done something awesome? And for that reason, I think I can only give this episode a 5 out of 10, which I feel like isn't really a scathing review. I think I'm still being fairly nice because at the end of the day, you slap Boba Fett on or in anything, and I'm probably gonna think it's pretty cool, but it's not living up to my expectations. That being said, let's get into the spoiler section of my review. I need a drink before I do this. So, from the very beginning, we're seeing a way smarter, more strategic Boba Fett, which I love. He lets Fennec take care of business, we bring in the ninja. Boba Fett refuses to kill him. Why? Well, he needs information. It's not so much mercy, it's not so much weakness as it is, I need information, and killing you is not going to do anything for me. I was really excited. I thought maybe there might have been a second Rancor. I know that they show one in the first season of Bad Batch, but turns out there isn't one. Fennec uses the threat of the Rancor to get the assassin from Order of the Night Wind to speak, and it turns out he says the mayor sent him. Now, I will say, the minute he said the mayor sent me, I was so ready to say, I told you so. I was ready to stand on my soapbox, this being my soapbox, and start yelling at you guys and tell you, absolutely, I was right. I was really excited about it. Turns out, it was not the mayor. Boba Fett marches down to the mayor's place, busts in the door, pushes the, I don't know what that Twee guy is named. He pushes him out of the way. He's really ready to fight. He's not having any of this disrespect. And that's what I like, is that we're seeing a Boba Fett who's a lot more strategic. He's a lot more smart. He's level-headed. He's really clear on what goals he wants to achieve, but he's not here to be trifled with, and he is not about to be disrespected. And that is where I think the episode does some great things in his characterization. He's definitely shown as somebody not to be trifled with, and that even after all that's happened with him, and that he's maybe not as strong or as quick as we usually see him, he's definitely not gonna get pushed around by the mayor. When he walks in there, really kind of being dissed a little bit because they're pretending they almost don't know who he is, that you know damn well who. I got chills. I feel like that's maybe a little bit odd. I know you guys like Boba Fett, but you don't like Boba Fett, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. I'm willing to admit I got chills a little bit. I love to hear him say it. What I don't love to hear him say is that he's not a bounty hunter. I know he's not. I know he's Daimyo of Mos Espa. I know he's got prestige now and he's got like a desk job, but I like my bounty hunter Boba Fett. I like my kind of, you know, public menace of the universe. Everybody's afraid of him. I like that better. I don't like desk Boba Fett. I don't like that he's just sitting around, but whatever. So after the mayor basically sends Boba Fett off with the parting gift of the knowledge that, hey, I'm not the guy who sent the Order of the Night Wind to kill you, he suggests that Boba go to Garza's sanctuary to figure out who the hell did send him. Can I just say, I actually really like scenes that take place in Garza's sanctuary because I've always liked the cantina, kind of dingy little nightclub vibe that a lot of those spots in Star Wars have. And I don't know how Max Rebo, you know, the little blue alien guy, if you don't know who I'm talking about, he looks like an elephant. He plays like that round piano thing. I don't know how he survived the sail barge crashing, but I'm just so happy to see him. I think he's adorable. He's so baby. It makes me happy to see him. Anyway, so turns out there's a secret plot kind of against Boba. You would think that the people of Garza's sanctuary would maybe rather work and operate under the ruling of Fett, who seems like he doesn't really want to get involved too much, rather than the Hutts, who are a really aggressive and kind of trashy crime syndicate. Apparently they kind of keep that information from him, and lo and behold, while they're in the middle of discussing whether or not there is or isn't an interest from the Hutt twins in taking back Jabba's land, the drums start pounding, and there they are. What I love about this moment is that this is peak Boba Fett. And this is where the episode had me hooked. Boba Fett does not let these guys push him around, and it turns out they brought a bounty hunter with them. He's a big ol' Wookiee, and if you don't know who he is, his name is Black Krrsantan. I don't really know if that's exactly how it's pronounced. The point is, he's a big bad bounty hunter that Boba Fett has actually been aware of because he's worked for Jabba the Hutt before in a lot of the comics. So it's really cool to see him make a live action appearance. He's been a gladiator before, and I think that the fact that he knows of Boba Fett is probably why he was mean mugging him so hard. So the Hutts try and use the Wookiee to intimidate Boba Fett. Boba Fett is really not having it, and he basically tells them, go back to where you came from. You want me off the throne, you'll have to kill me for it. And I thought that was beautiful. And when they leave, he and Fennec basically agree that the story is not going to end there. And that seems promising. I thought that the episode was going to be great. I was hooked. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. I was ready to see something happen. And then my excitement died. With 38 minutes left in the episode, that is the last time we see present day Boba do anything. We go right back to a flashback sequence as he returns to the Bacta tank, and I was thinking maybe a series of flashbacks. I mean, my issue with the show so far is that we're really not seeing that much from the rest of his life. I know myself and a lot of Boba fans included, what we wanted out of a Book of Boba Fett show was like prime of his life, Empire Strikes Back Boba. We wanted Boba Fett in his prime, and instead we're kind of not getting that at all. So our next flashbacks include watching Boba Fett train with the gaffy stick, which is always cool. I think it's really comfortable for Tamura. I love him. I love his love for the character. But Boba at this point, I think at oldest is like 42. And Tem, I think, just turned 61. They don't move like men of the same age. It's no offense to Tem. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. I just don't think that the movement patterns are really what they should be for a guy that's been bounty hunting and moving around and running and jumping and has been basically half a murderer for hire for years. I don't really think we're getting that kind of dynamic movement from him right now. So watching him train with the gaffy stick is always a welcome sight. What it isn't is super welcome when it's literally interrupting something that I thought was going to be awesome. So we end up seeing that there's some weird train that rolls through the Dune Sea every once in a while, and these bandits literally are shooting Tuskens out of the window, shooting Banthas, and it seems really brutal because I think that for years we thought that the Tuskens were just kind of savages out in the land, set to mess with our favorite characters here and there, but The Mandalorian and this show especially have really humanized them. We see how they communicate and that they're not nuts, we just didn't understand them before. So it's especially kind of disheartening to see them be shot out of a train like that. I guess Boba Fett feels the same way because he makes it his mission to stop the train. This is my huge issue. I love Boba Fett, but I love Boba Fett because I know he's a menace and he is out for himself and he is out to make money. He's out to make profit, and in this case, he's out to survive. I don't personally think that him stopping this train and helping the Tuskens is something that he would have ever done. I think this is Disney basically establishing him as a hero because it's hard to sell action figures of somebody we all think is a huge a-hole. I love him. I've bought plenty of action figures and I know he's a huge a-hole, but I know a lot of parents and people that subscribe to Disney Plus just to watch The Mandalorian and are probably wondering why Baby Yoda hasn't shown up. They're not really gonna like that attitude. They're making him look like a hero, and he's not a hero. I don't think that this mission is really something that he would have ever undertaken, and it's where I think the episode is showing a departure from the Boba Fett that we all know and love. So he goes to the station, kicks some butt, takes a bunch of speeders. The speeder sequence, I of all the things that I thought that I was gonna watch Boba Fett do, of all the things that I dreamed of when they announced the Book of Boba Fett was coming out, I did not think that he would be teaching Tuskens how to ride speeders. My dad taught me how to ride a bike, but I don't think it would have been that interesting a show. So we get to sit there and watch him teach them how to ride speeder bikes for like 6 minutes. I feel like it's such a break in character when he's sitting on the speeder and goes, like a bantha. Like, are you serious? I'm sorry. I want to forget that Boba Fett has teeth from how little he smiles. That's what I want. I love him, but it's not him. I feel like I feel like he broke character, and I saw Tamura, who's adorable and I love, but he's not Boba Fett in that scene. So the whole stopping the train thing I felt was really Western inspired, actually, and I almost felt like we were going back to those Western kind of Clint Eastwood roots. Boba Fett's always been inspired by cowboys. It's why they even did sound effects of spurs in his shoes. And so I thought we were going to go back to that. I thought that we were definitely going to get some of those vibes, but we didn't. They stopped the train, and there is jumping from speeder to train, kind of like horse to train, but it doesn't really play like a Western. I feel like had the direction kind of leaned into his Western roots a little bit more, we would have gotten some way cooler content. Instead, it plays out like a typical Robert Rodriguez action sequence. It's entertaining, but I wasn't really thrilled by it. We find out these guys are running spice. Boba is kind of indifferent to it and lets them go. I thought this was an interesting point. There's a distinct moment in one of the novels, Tales of the Bounty Hunter to be specific, where Boba Fett has a conversation with Princess Leia, and one of his major issues with Han Solo is that he runs spice. So Boba in the novels and in the extended universe is kind of a narc, but he lets these guys go. Later on, he hangs out with the Tuskens, and we find out that this tribe of Tuskens in particular is kind of in hiding from the rest of them. I like that Boba tells them not to hide, because I feel like that's a really big part of Boba's personality. He's always been fairly combative and just figuring out what the best way to get what he wants is. This is where the episode just got so weird. They give him the gift of a lizard, and the lizard, I thought it might have spoken to him because, you know, the whole Disney princess thing, they always have some kind of talking animal companion. The point is that I didn't expect it to jump into his nose. Of all the things to happen, why did I have to watch a lizard crawl into Boba Fett's nose? That is disgusting. This whole lizard up the nose thing leads to somewhere between like a walkabout and an acid trip, or maybe if he went on a walkabout on an acid trip. Evidently, he needed a lizard crawling up his nose to have some kind of epiphany, and I needed the lizard crawling up his nose to wonder why I watched this show in the first place. And when he comes back, he's got a stick. They robe him, which I don't know how the 501st doesn't have those CRLs up yet, but time is ticking. He makes a gaffy stick. Our last 8 minutes of the episode are spent watching him get into costume and do some arts and crafts on his own prop. I just feel like this episode could have been completely just avoided. I don't want a third episode of this. I'm giving this episode a 5 out of 10 because it's still Boba Fett content, and I'm holding out hope. I know that I'm kind of against the general consensus here. I know everybody thinks that this episode was really, really great, but I was just bored. I hope they get back into what I think the show should be, showing us what it is that he's doing now. What is his goal or his role now as daimyo of Mos Espa? I feel like that's where we need to get to, and if there's another 20 minutes of watching him trudge through sand, I'm really not going to be excited for this show anymore. Hot take, but it's how I feel. That's all for me. 5 out of 10. I didn't love it. I guess we'll see what happens next Wednesday on Disney+. I've been Snarky J. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.